Hey everybody, Shoebox Legends here. Thanks for joining me today for a special episode on the channel. Pretty excited to get to this one. This is going to be the story of how I downgraded my 1971 Topps Hank Aaron card. So this is kind of a collecting strategy that I've employed a couple times now in recent years, and I think in this case it worked out okay for me, but there may be some of you that disagree, and so I'd love to hear your comments below. And so it all started many years back when I picked up a 1971 Topps Hank Aaron. And this is not that card, but this is a 71 Topps Aaron here. I just wanted to give you something to look at while I'm laying the groundwork. So I owned this card in a PSA 8, mainly because I bought it many, many years ago, probably 10, 12 years ago, or even longer now. And back then when I was first getting into the hobby, I wanted all my 70s cards to be in an 8, all my 60s cards to be in a 7, etc. Well, fast forward to 2019, towards the end of the year, and sort of reevaluating what I had in my collection and where I wanted to go, and decided that while I love the 71 Topps Hank Aaron and I want to have one for my Hank Aaron run, I don't need an 8. And so I sold the card for a pretty good amount of money, certainly many times more than what I paid for it, a decade or so earlier. And it was hard to part with it because it was just a beautiful card. But I was able to get 5 vintage cards in return with the money that I made off of that Aaron. And the first of which is the card that you see right here. That's right. I sold a 1971 Topps Hank Aaron, and then I bought back immediately a 1971 Topps Hank Aaron. But the copy that I bought was a PSA VGEX4. And you can see I was drawn to this one mainly because of two things. The centering is gorgeous and the color is perfect. It really, really stands out. It might be hard to tell on video or in this light, but this is a really sharp version of this card. I think the color on this particular example is as good or better than the PSA 8 that I had. Obviously, there are some touched corners here. You can see the upper left has some exposed cardboard on it. And I think the lower left has some white as well. But overall, that's a beautiful looking card. And it's the reason that I didn't mind selling my PSA 8 71 Topps Hank Aaron, because I knew that with, the funds, the first thing that I would do would be to buy that card back. So I kind of felt like, in a way, I didn't lose anything. I just moved down 4 grades from an 8 to a 4. Got a very beautiful card that fits in nicely with my playing era run. And I had enough cash left over, as I said, to grab 4 more slabs to go along with that one. And the first 2 of those 4 are going to continue the theme. I really wanted to work seriously on my Hank Aaron run, which is something that I've been showing off recently on the channel, and was able to get this 67 in a PSA 5 with those funds. Now, this one is a little bit diamond cut. It's very, very, very lightly diamond cut, but the centering looks great. The image looks great. It's a mid-grade card. This is kind of exactly what I go for in my Hank Aaron run. Low to mid-grade with high eye appeal. This card, fit the bill and was able to, kind of duplicate my 71 PSA 8 Aaron into a 71 and a 67. So just like that, was one card closer to getting my run complete. Now, the third card that I was able to pick up with the funds from the sale was yet another Hank Aaron. And I promise this is not an entirely, Hank Aaron themed video, but was able to get the 62, which has one of my favorite images on any card of the man from the 60s. Just love this one. This is a PSA 3. Again, this is kind of what I look for. It looks spectacular. The image is clean. There's no creasing, no snow. The colors are sharp. It's relatively well centered for a 62. There's borders on all sides. The corners aren't even atrocious. I mean, this is a nice looking 3. It kind of fits right in with the PSA 3 66 and 68s that I showed off recently. And so was able to snag this at the time. The back is clean as well. Got a nice image there, cartoon, no paper loss, no anything, pretty strong PSA 3. I mean, I would buy all my 62 Topps in a PSA 3 if I could find copies that looked like those in that grade. That's it for the Hank Aarons. And I would have been happy, quite honestly, just stopping there. Going from a 71 Aaron to 3 different Hank Aarons for my run that all look, pretty nice to me, I think would have been a win in and of itself. But as I said, I was able to buy 5 cards with the proceeds. So I still have 2 non-Hank Aaron slabs to show. The first is one of a guy who I haven't worked too much on his playing era run of yet, but would love to when I finish Aaron or Mantle. Bob Clemente, Roberto Clemente, Bob in this case, on his 61 Topps release. Check out the centering and the color on this card. Just beautiful. Obviously I'm not alone in thinking this, and I've heard it many times as well, but Clemente just has some gorgeous baseball cards from over the years. Very photogenic guy. And, this one was definitely a purchase of opportunity. I didn't go into the downgrade or the sale of that 71 Aaron knowing that I was going to buy this card in particular. I had picked out sort of the 3 Aarons that we already talked about, and then knew that after those I would have some funds left over and would just kind of see what spoke to me, I guess. And this Clemente definitely spoke to me. So this is a beautiful PSA 5, great centering. I'll never need to upgrade this card, and it'll be a nice one in the list if and when I get around to working on a Clemente playing era run of PSA slabs at some point in my collecting journey. But in the meantime, happy to have that one anyway. And then last but not least, this is a card that I don't think any of you would predict that you would see here. It is not a baseball card, it is a basketball slab. So after picking up 4 baseball cards with the proceeds, decided I wanted to do something a little bit different with the 5th and final card. Was thinking about the greats in the history of the game of basketball that I didn't have represented in my collection at all, because I'm not much of a basketball collector, and ended up finding this bad boy. This is Wilt Chamberlain on the 1970 71 Topps Tall Boy release. Check this card out. Rocking the headband. Just a great shot. Got this in a PSA 6. This is in the extra large PSA slab, of course, to accommodate the Tall Boy. But I was sold on this just because, he's certainly a top 10 basketball player of all time. He holds many records, 100-point game. Dude is an absolute legend, and just wanted to get him represented in my collection with a playing era card. Don't really track basketball cards much, but I think this one has gone up pretty significantly in the time since I picked it up, to where it's, probably worth as much as what I sold that Aaron for, in and of itself at this point, baseball cards aside. So that is the story of how I moved from a 71 Hank Aaron slab to a 71 Hank Aaron slab, along with 2 other Aarons, a Clemente, and a Wilt Chamberlain. So let me know how you think I did a couple years now into the future. So this was about 3 years ago now, coming up on, that I made this sort of flip of sorts. I'm sure there are some of you out there that really love your high grade vintage that would have advised me to keep my PSA 8 Aaron, since none of these other cards approach an 8 in grade. But to me, all 5 of these look as good as the Aaron that I parted with, regardless of what PSA says. And so personally, I'm very happy with the flip. So just wanted to tell that story and show off some of the cards that I got in return. I thought it would make a neat episode, and just an example of how paying attention to prices in the hobby, you can sometimes, create opportunity for yourself in your own collection. It doesn't mean that you're greedy or that you're an investor or that, you collect because of the financial aspect of it. But I think if you have cards that are worth something, it's worth keeping track of what they're worth, for lack of a better term. And in this case, that Hank Aaron got valuable enough that was able to turn it into these 5 cards that you see before you. So thanks so much for stopping by and listening to me drone on here for 10 minutes about some vintage slabs. Hope you enjoyed a look at these. And again, would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I will certainly be back in the very near future with some more sports card content here on the channel. But in the meantime, stay safe and enjoy the hobby.